Reads Books. Welcome back to my channel, and it's time to discuss the BookTube Prize, which has now moved from the semi-finals onto the finals. Decisions have been made, the list has been culled. We're down to 6 finalists for fiction, 6 finalists for non-fiction, and the move from semi-final to final saw some amazing changes to the list. Books have dropped out that I thought would have easily made it through the finals, and some books have been included that I thought should have been gone long ago. Let's take a look at non-fiction real quick, because in this video as well I want to go through my rankings. I'll get to that as fast as I can. So in non-fiction, first of all, things like Robert Macfarlane's Underland missed out, which I thought was amazing. I Think You Should Talk to Someone also missed out. And then left in is something that I thought was just poorly written and shouldn't have been there at all, which was Solitary by Albert Woodfox. You know, a good story poorly told, and that's made it all the way through. So, you know, in non-fiction, some really, I thought, some strange decisions in there. In fiction as well, I think there's some strange things that have been left in. The Beekeeper of Aleppo, I thought it was a strange, almost commercial fiction that's been left in the final. A Single Thread, which I loved, and I thought it was great. I didn't really see it as finalist material though. In the early round when I read it, I ranked it highly because of the other stuff that was in my group at that time. But I really didn't imagine that it would get through to the final. It was just that kind of very light, entertaining book, and I didn't really see it as a finalist. The other things that have missed out, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous has missed out, which has been really well received right throughout the competition. And things that are in is the experimental little book called Lanny by Max Porter. That's in. And so some really weird inclusions and exclusions at this point. I mean, there's still some great books in the final for both non-fiction and fiction. And what I want to do right now is go through how I ranked the 6 books in my pool. So I was judging pool, I believe, I can't remember, was it pool A? the one with 10 minutes 38 seconds in it. That one. I think it was semi-final fiction pool A, let's say it was. And in no particular order, it had things like Jacqueline Woodson's Red at the Bone, Alif Shafak's 10 minutes 38 seconds, and On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and a few other things. So let's rank them. Starting at number 6. And this is going to cause some controversy because it was so well received right throughout the competition. So at number 6, I ranked Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. And the reason is I just didn't get it. I didn't understand the narrative that it was trying to tell. I didn't understand the characters and their motivations. I just thought the delivery was really poorly finished. And when compared to the other books in the field, where I could easily make those decisions about character and content and plot and all of that sort of stuff, for Red at the Bone, I just didn't get the point. So number 6, it was an easy choice for me. I really disliked it, and to the extent that right now I can't remember much about the plot. I've blocked it out already. Number 5 is Lanny by Max Porter, and I think it's suffered from the same problem. All by itself, it's a great book. It's really interesting, but it is experimental, and I thought in a book prize that these experimental novels would kind of be seen for what they are, get a lot of excitement early on, and then drift off. And I'm not sure what it is that made Lanny stick around in the finalists, because the more I kept comparing Lanny to other books on these lists, the more I kept bumping it down the list as I kept comparing. So Lanny ends up at number 5. But again, it's made it through to the final list of 6 for fiction. So go figure. Number four, and I was really disappointed to leave this out of my top three because I really enjoyed it, and that's Elif Shafak's 10 minutes 38 seconds in this strange world. I thought it was fantastic. It was, and it's something that I'd just never read anything like it before. It was such a beautiful story, but again, in comparison to the books around it, it ended up at number four. I won't go through too much of what flaws I found, so I don't want to do reviews of these today. I think I'll come back another time. There's a few books on this list that I would like to do a full review of, and Elif Shafak is one that I would like to do a proper review of, and probably one other on the list that I'd like to do a full review of. But in the general scheme of things, I had 10 minutes 38 seconds at number four, and again, that has made it through to the final six as well. Go figure. Number three, I had as Women Talking, and again, I say this for almost every book. When I read this at the end of last year, it blew me away, and it still blows me away. It is a phenomenal achievement of a book. But again, when I compared it to what I was reading in the moment, Women Talking by Miriam Toews ended up as number three. But as number three, it still gets through to the final. And I guess other people have ranked it highly enough that it got through to the final as well. And that leaves the final two, which number two for me was Ocean Vuong's On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. And this has really been quite polarising for readers, so I can see why it didn't get through. It was a love it or hate it kind of deal. I didn't see many reviews that said, it was okay, but I saw lots of reviews that said this wasn't for me or this was amazing. And for me, I was absolutely on the amazing side of the fence. I thought and you can tell that Ocean Vuong's history is in poetry because the language and the rhythm of the story as it skipped along was just sublime, and I just found myself just diving straight into this story and just letting it envelop me for the whole time. It's really a sensational book. It's not an easy read for a slim volume. It's quite a challenging thing in both in theme and content, but also just the structure with all the poetical devices and the lyric quality of it. Doesn't in any way make it an easy read. It's quite a challenging read. It's quite a confronting read, but for that reason, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's number two, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. And number one, and it's the only one I have a physical copy of. I was lucky enough to be able to get all of these from the library this time round. And I have Red at the Bone by Etaf Rum was number one. And again, this was an easy choice for number one for me. I thought it was streaks ahead of everything else in this particular pool. I absolutely adored this book. As a migrant experience story, is just so good. The characters, even weeks after reading them, the characters are still resonating with me, and I'm still thinking about it. And it was just a phenomenal book. A Woman Is No Man by Etaf Rum. That was my number one, and that didn't make it through either. So let's have a look at the final list, and I've got it right here. So what did make it through, and I've alluded to some of those already, but in fiction, the final six are Bernardine Evaristo, Girl, Woman, Other, which I've done a review from before and think it's one of my best books of the year. Max Porter's Lanny, and I've discussed that at length and for reasons why I thought it wouldn't get through. Christy Lefteri's The Beekeeper of Aleppo, which is probably the one from the fiction final that I haven't read yet. Before the end of, where are we, September, I might try and read that one. Miriam Toews' Women Talking has made it through. Elif Shafak's 10 minutes 38 seconds has made it through, and Tracy Chevalier's A Single Thread made it through. So really some surprising choices in there about things that were enjoyable but really I didn't see them as finalist material when I started this journey back in February. And then for non-fiction, similar story. You've got Patrick Radden Keefe's Say Nothing. Oh, and I should say that this is my pool for the final. I'm reading non-fiction for the final. And the way in which the final pool has worked out, I have to read 5 out of 6. The only one on this final list I've read is Albert Woodfox's Solitary. And when I read it earlier in the year, I hated it anyway. So thank goodness I don't need to read that again. But I've still got 5 books to read out of 6. And if there was the ones that I were hoping were going to get through, Robert Macfarlane and a few others, they're all gone. So the non-fiction finalists are, and this is with the group that I'm reading, Patrick Radden Keefe's Say Nothing, which I've started already, about living in the IRA in Northern Ireland. Carmen Maria Machado in The Dream House, Ronan Farrow's Catch and Kill, Chanel Miller's Know My Name, Rachel Louise Snyder, No Visible Bruises, and Albert Woodfox's Solitary. So they're the surprising 6 inclusions for non-fiction as well. Let's see how it goes. I've got 2 months to read 5 non-fiction books. That's going to be tough. I think in the first round when I read non-fiction, there was 2 that I'd already read. So now I've got to read even more than the first time. So I'll get through them. I'm sure I will. We'll see how we go. So far, Say Nothing, Patrick Radden Keefe is where I'm starting. And then I've also got a copy of No Visible Bruises ready to go as well. So I may have to do 2 at a time and just to try and get through them all. But a really, really exciting final lists and really surprising final lists. I'd love to hear what you thought yourself, so please comment down below. But that's it, time to go. Enjoy your BookTube Prize reading, everyone, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.